26th District Delegate Tony Wilt and 25th District Delegate-elect Chris Runion held a town hall meeting in Bridgewater earlier this week. The meeting, which was attended by more than 70 citizens with varying political views, was called so the delegates could gain public input and feedback on issues important to the citizens of the 25th and 26th districts ahead of the 2020 General Assembly session. The lawmakers touched on a variety of issues and concerns brought up by those in attendance at the town hall last night.
I co-patroned of legislation last year, Delegate Ware carried, that basically it said if you're going to build a pipeline, you got to present your cost, and that's the cost to the ratepayers. You got to lay your business plan out before you do it, because I've never understood how that process works. What works in your business? Have you ever done anything? You go out and you purchase I don't know, a new boom truck, but you didn't weigh the cost of what that truck's going to be, what's the work you're going to have for it, who are the people you're going to have to hire to drive it. Any of those extra costs other than beyond the truck, and that's the process that I've never understood. You know, from a Dominion. I don't want to beat Dominion. I mean, they keep our lights on, but that whole processing, I never understood that. They can basically go build it, and then they come back and say, "Here's what we need to cover our cost."
I feel really blessed to be able to stand up here. Steve's big shoes to fill, we all know that. I just hope that I can meet your expectations and my expectations, and we'll just do the best we can on that.
Delegate Wilt is entering his 5th term as a delegate, and this will be Delegate-elect Runion's first term as a state delegate. This year could prove to be an uphill battle for both men. Back in November, Virginia voters went to the polls and gave the Democrats control of the state legislature. This will be the first time in over 20 years that Democrats have controlled both the state Senate and House of Delegates. In addition to having a majority in both chambers of the General Assembly, Democrats also hold the governorship, lieutenant governorship, and the Attorney General's office. One of the main issues that Republicans across Virginia are concerned with is Governor Northam's proposed gun restrictions. Across the Commonwealth, Republicans are up in arms about the governor's proposals and have their base fired up.
And I will obey every law here, but I will not give my guns up to nobody. No man walks on 2 days before I won't submit. And I don't stand alone. And there's a lot more people in the Justice County that's just not here. They kind of quack. But I'm going to tell you, they got just as much guts as I got.
So-called Second Amendment sanctuaries have been declared by local governments throughout the state, as Republicans claim the new Democratic majority in Richmond will unconstitutionally take gun rights away from so-called law-abiding citizens. I asked Delegate Wilt if he thinks an unconstitutional gun grab is realistic and if the mass hysteria when it comes to gun control on the right is warranted.
Obviously, I'm concerned of the possibility. Yeah. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold. I'm hoping that we can have some. Hey, look, you know, you've been around a long time. Everybody has to do their respective saber rattling. I'm this, and my party's for this. But I'm hoping that we can have some. And people may not like to hear it, but it happens. Some behind the scenes conversation. Let's get off the cameras. Let's sit down, reasonable, and talk this thing. The ramifications of what we're doing here. It's like some of the things proposed. I'm all for public safety and so forth, but I question the validity of some of the things being put forward. As they will actually do what what folks are saying they intend to do. Here's what I want to accomplish, because any piece of legislation, here's what I want to do, here's the effect. This is the cause, this is the effect. What's the effect? If you're truly going to keep people safe with some of these things enacted, I'm willing to look at it. But if it's statistically or factually irrelevant, why are you doing it just to feel good and just to say you did something? So that's my approach. But I'm willing to look at any and all things and take it on its merits.
Now, despite the polarized issues like gun rights and gun control and the Equal Rights Amendment and abortion, Delegate Wilt said a large amount of legislation passed over his first 4 terms in the General Assembly was done in a bipartisan manner, and that he has voted with and against his own party based on the merits of each bill.
It's not attractive. Maybe it doesn't meet the headlines. You see all the Republican against the Democrat and so forth, and I've been accused of well, you vote with the Republicans 80 whatever percent of the time. Well, did anybody go back and look at how many times I voted with the Democrats? Because by and large, most of our, and I don't want to throw out too many numbers here because I don't want to mislead you, but the majority of our legislation is bipartisan. Okay, and if we disagree on things, a lot of times the disagreement is regional. It's urban versus rural. That's where we're at odds at. And so if you went back and actually looked at the votes taken, I would vote on those bills. Probably vote with the Democrats more than folks realize. You get the picture painted that we never agree on anything. That's just not true.
Both Runion and Wilt told me they will work with Democrats to pass meaningful legislation in the 2020 session.
If you look at it from an overall perspective, we're all trying to improve the citizens' experience in the Commonwealth. And so let's figure out the things that we can agree on and do those. I think education is an area. Career and technical education is something I'm really excited about. And I sat beside one of my fellow freshman delegates from the Tidewater area. He's a small business owner as well. Now, he's on the opposite side of the aisle, but we both have an interest in career and technical education. I was in Richmond at a meeting the other week, and I sat with a lady, a freshman delegate as well, from Northern Virginia, and we talked about career and technical education. She's got some specific legislation that she's sending me for us to see if we can be on board with all that. And so there's two areas right away that we're going to be in agreement on.
In Bridgewater, Theodore Whitelow, Breaking Through News.